Slide 1. Title: ISM Code MEO Class I Oral and Written Exam Preparation. Hello everyone. Welcome to this lecture on the International Safety Management Code, commonly known as the ISM Code. In this series, we will understand the history, objectives, structure, elements, certification procedures, and practical applications of the ISM Code from the perspective of a marine engineer officer preparing for MEO Class I examinations. The ISM Code is one of the most important international regulations because it establishes a safety management system, or SMS, to ensure safe operation of ships and prevention of pollution. Slide 2. Roadmap. Before we begin, let us look at the roadmap of this lecture. We will start with the history and evolution of the ISM Code, then understand its structure, objectives, and definitions. After that, we will study the 16 elements of the code, certification and audits, risk assessment, root cause analysis, contingency planning, people and safety culture, key performance indicators, cyber risk management, and finally, some important points for examination preparation. Slide 3. History and background. To understand the ISM Code, we must first understand why it was created. The ISM Code was developed after a series of major accidents showed that many casualties were caused not only by equipment failures, but also by poor management and lack of safety culture. The accident that had the greatest impact was the sinking of the Herald of Free Enterprise in 1987. This tragedy changed the approach of the shipping industry and eventually led to the development of a mandatory international code for safe ship operation and pollution prevention. Slide 4. The casualty that changed shipping. On the 6th of March 1987, the roll-on, roll-off ferry Herald of Free Enterprise departed from Zeebrugge in Belgium for Dover in England. Unfortunately, the bow doors had been left open. As the vessel gathered speed, seawater entered the vehicle deck, causing rapid loss of stability and capsizing. There were 459 passengers and crew on board, and sadly 193 people lost their lives. The official investigation led by Justice Sheen concluded that the disaster was not simply due to one person's mistake. He described the open bow door as merely the last link in a chain of failures and pointed out that there had been continuous sloppiness by management at every level. The root cause was identified as a failure of management and safety culture rather than an isolated human error. This accident became the foundation for the development of the ISM Code. Slide 5. From Guidelines to Mandatory Code. Following several accidents, the International Maritime Organization, or IMO, adopted guidelines for safe operation of ships and pollution prevention in October 1989. In November 1993, these guidelines were converted into the International Safety Management Code through Assembly Resolution A.741/18. In May 1994, the code was incorporated into SOLAS Chapter IX. Finally, on the 1st of July 1998, the ISM Code became mandatory for certain categories of ships. Thus, the ISM Code moved from being a recommendation to becoming an international legal requirement. Slide 6. Phased implementation. Implementation of the ISM Code took place in 3 phases. Phase 1 came into force on the 1st of July 1998 and covered passenger ships and passenger high-speed craft. Phase 2 also came into force on the same date and included tankers carrying oil, chemicals, or gas, as well as bulk carriers of 500 gross tonnage and above. According to the ISM Code, a bulk carrier means a ship which is constructed generally with single-deck, topside tanks and hopper-side tanks in cargo spaces, and intended primarily to carry dry cargo in bulk. Phase 3 came into effect on the 1st of July 2002 and covered all other cargo ships and mobile offshore drilling units of 500 gross tonnage and above. Government-owned ships used only for non-commercial purposes are outside the scope of the ISM Code. Slide 7. Structure, Objectives, and Definitions. Now let us move to the structure and definitions of the ISM Code. Understanding the structure is very important because examiners frequently ask questions regarding the arrangement of the code and its terminology. The code consists of Part A and Part B and contains 16 elements covering implementation, certification, and verification. Slide 8. The 16 elements. Part A of the ISM Code contains 12 elements related to implementation of the safety management system. These include general requirements, safety and environmental protection policy, company responsibilities, designated person ashore, master's responsibility, resources and personnel, shipboard operations, emergency preparedness, reporting of accidents and nonconformities, maintenance, documentation, and company verification and review. Part B contains 4 elements related to certification and verification. These include certification and periodical verification, interim certification, verification and control, and forms of certificates. Together, these 16 elements form the backbone of the safety management system. Slide 9. Objectives of the ISM Code. The objectives of the ISM Code are clearly stated in Section 1.2. The primary objective is to ensure safety at sea. Another objective is to prevent human injury and loss of life. The Code also aims to avoid damage to the environment, especially the marine environment, and to protect property. Furthermore, the company must establish safe operating practices, provide a safe working environment, assess identified risks, establish safeguards, and continuously improve the safety management skills of personnel both ashore and on board. Therefore, the ISM Code promotes continual improvement rather than mere compliance.
Slide 10. Functional Requirements of SMS. Section 1.4 describes the functional requirements of the safety management system. First, every company must establish a safety and environmental protection policy. Second, procedures and instructions should ensure safe ship operation and environmental protection while complying with international and flag state regulations. Third, lines of authority and communication between ship and shore personnel must be clearly defined. Fourth, procedures should exist for reporting accidents and nonconformities. Fifth, emergency preparedness procedures must be established. And finally, procedures for internal audits and management reviews should be maintained. These requirements form the framework of every safety management system. Slide 11. Key Definitions, Part 1. Let us now understand some important definitions. The term company refers to the owner or any organization or person, such as a manager or bareboat charterer, who has assumed responsibility for operating the ship. The Document of Compliance, or DOC, is issued to a company that complies with the requirements of the ISM Code. The Safety Management Certificate, or SMC, is issued to a ship and confirms that the company and the shipboard management are operating according to an approved safety management system. Objective evidence means qualitative or quantitative information that can be verified through records, observations, or factual statements. Slide 13. Observation, NC, and MNC. An observation is a statement of fact identified during an audit and supported by objective evidence. A nonconformity, or NC, means that a specified requirement of the code has not been fulfilled. A major nonconformity, or MNC, is much more serious. It is a deviation that creates a serious threat to personnel, the ship, or the environment and requires immediate corrective action. An MNC may also indicate that a requirement of the ISM code has not been implemented effectively and systematically. This distinction between observation, NC, and MNC is very important for examinations.
Before we continue with the 16 elements of the ISM code, if you are finding these lectures useful for your MEO Class I preparation, please support the channel by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. This is part 1 of a complete 4-part ISM code series, and in the upcoming lectures, we'll cover all 16 elements: certification in audits, risk assessment, contingency planning, cyber risk management, and many oral examination questions in detail. So subscribe now and stay with the series till the end. Now, let's continue with the most important section of the ISM code, the 16 elements.
Slide 14, the 16 elements. We now begin the most important part of the ISM code, the 16 elements. These define the responsibilities of the company, the master, personnel, and procedures required for maintaining safe operation and pollution prevention. Understanding these elements thoroughly is essential for both oral and written examinations. Slide 15, Element 3, Company Responsibilities and Authority. Element 3 deals with company responsibilities and authority. If the ship owner is not directly operating the vessel, the owner must inform the administration about the entity responsible for ship operation. The company should clearly define responsibilities, authority, and relationships among personnel involved in safety and pollution prevention. The company must provide sufficient resources and shore support to the designated person ashore. During audits, the auditor verifies organizational charts, statutory certificates, class documentation, and interviews responsible personnel to ensure that everyone understands their duties. Slide 15, Element 5, Designated Person Ashore. Element 5 introduces the Designated Person Ashore, commonly called the DPA. The DPA acts as a link between the ship and the highest level of company management. The DPA monitors safe operation and pollution prevention and plays a major role in promoting safety culture. The DPA is responsible for monitoring implementation of the safety policy, reviewing the effectiveness of the safety management system, analyzing accidents and nonconformities, organizing internal audits, and ensuring that adequate resources and shore support are available. The DPA must have suitable qualifications, training, and experience. Slide 16, Element 5, Master's Responsibility and Authority. Element 5 defines the responsibilities of the master. The master must implement the company's safety and environmental protection policy and motivate the crew to follow it. The master should issue clear instructions and ensure that procedures are being followed. The master should periodically review the safety management system and report deficiencies to shore management. An important provision under Section 5.2 is the master's overriding authority. This means that the company must clearly state that the master has full authority and responsibility to make decisions regarding safety and pollution prevention. Whenever exercising this authority, the master should perform risk assessment and choose the safest course of action. Slide 17, Resources and Personnel. Element 6 focuses on resources and personnel. The master must be properly qualified and fully familiar with the safety management system. Ships should be manned with qualified, certified, and medically fit seafarers. Safe manning should be determined through risk assessment and according to the safe manning document. Every new crew member must receive safety familiarization and workplace familiarization. Proper training and competent personnel are essential for effective implementation of the ISM code.
That brings us to the end of Part 1 of our ISM Code series. In the next lecture, we'll continue with the remaining elements of the ISM Code and study shipboard operations, emergency preparedness, reporting of nonconformities, maintenance, documentation, company verification and review, and much more from the MEO Class I examination perspective. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in Part 2.